Joint military exercises between United States and South Korea are regular occurrences. This one, codenamed Max Thunder, took place in November at the Kunsan Air Force Base, 150 miles south of Seoul. This type of exercise takes place every year, but for the North Korean government, they consider this a provocation and a threat.
I mean, North Korea is still a flashpoint. We're still at a state of war with North Korea. This is a 1953 armistice.
If there was someday, heaven forbid, a real war here, we would need to work very closely. We are always practicing together, always working together.
Thankfully, we've helped stabilize and ensure the security of the peninsula for the last 61 years. But in spite of that long time, we have to be ready to fight tonight, and that really is our mantra.
North Korea is under new leadership.
Kim Jong-un looks funny. He is overweight and sometimes does strange things, but he is smart. When his father died, 7 top officials, 4 generals and 3 top civilian bureaucrats walked next to the coffin of his father in December 2011. In 2 years' time, none of them was alive and in a high-level position.
When it comes to international relations, Kim Jong-un's rule has been described as erratic. Since coming into power, he's launched a long-range rocket and carried out a nuclear test. Most recently, the US accused the North of orchestrating a cyber attack on Sony Pictures. Last fall, fault lines was granted rare access inside the country. We went to understand what, if anything, has changed since Kim Jong-un came to power, and how US-North Korean relations look from the other side. Our visit to North Korea was part of a highly controlled press tour sponsored by the government. Our guides decided where we went, who we spoke to, and they were with us at all times.
My name is Kang Hyun-gyu. Kang.
선출당원들과 근로자들은 조선석도 창조로 당과 수령을 결사응리하겠다는 고결한 충정을 지니고 모두 다 정의한 김정은 동지의 영도 따라 위대한 대원 수령들의 불멸에 당한 건설 업적을 끝없이 빛내어 나아가자.
So we have to wear this to identify ourselves as international press, and we have to use it while working on the streets. Let's go. The Kim family and the Workers' Party have ruled North Korea for over 6 decades. Apparently today is the 17th anniversary that Kim Jong-il was elected secretary of the party, and people here are coming to these statues to pay their respects.
A lot of people from all different walks of life, the army soldiers, they come.
우리 수령님이 얼마나 위대하고 위대한 수령님을 더 잘 모셔야 되겠다는 이런 감동이 있습니다.
North Korea has one of the largest standing armies in the world. Men are conscripted for up to 10 years. It's because of the idea of Jongun, which means military first. We're heading to the border between North and South Korea. It's one of the most heavily fortified border areas in the world. We just passed 3 checkpoints, but we were not allowed to film because of security concerns. We went to meet Lieutenant Colonel Nam Dong-ho of the Korean People's Army.
이 조선반도에는 언제 한번 전쟁의 위험이 가셔진 적이 없습니다. 책상 위에 있는 문건들이 종전협정문 부본들입니다.
On this side of the border is North Korea, and on the other one is the United States and South Korea.
남쪽이 이쪽입니다. 남쪽. 저 앞에 나와 있는 철가모 쓰구나. 저 앞에 건너편에 우리 쪽으로 좀 맞서 있는 놈들이 남쪽 걔네들이고.
The West is always saying North Korea needs to dismantle their nuclear weapons program. North Korea has to do this and has to do that. What would it take?
핵무기를 우리한테 핵무기를 철폐해야 된다고 말하는 그런 나라들이 핵무기를 가지고 우리를 위협하기 때문에 우리의 핵무기가 있는 게 우리한테 우리가 핵무기를 철폐하는 것은 곧 우리를 핵무기로 위협하는 나라들에서 핵무기가 없어질 때만이 우리의 핵무기도 없어져요.
We were told the nuclear deterrent, as they call it, means the government can focus on other things like development.
And still we are building more fancy-looking apartment buildings along the river. And among them, who has made good success or achievements for the society, then he will be kind of first priority to go there.
Our guides brought us to see one of these new buildings that we were told is for families of professors at Kim Il-sung University. Shin Young-ju lives there with her daughter, son-in-law, and grandson.
The kitchen.
She was worried about the health of Kim Jong-un, who had not appeared in public for several weeks.
경야는 김정은 원수님 보고 싶어서 매일 가서 신문 오기만 기다리고 신문 시상 보이지 않으면 마음이 괴롭단 말이에요.
And you're going to cry too. We're all crying.
Then the conversation turned to the United States. She told us the Americans provoke and threaten North Korea regularly, but she is certain they will not attack because they would lose.
Does she still feel the possibility that there can be a war again?
자기네가 이제는 우리하고 전쟁해야 미국이란 땅덩어리 통째로 그야말로 해담탁에 나와서 도장 찍을 놈도 없게 된단 말이에요. 그건 모르지 않는다고요. 미국도 모서리 아니기 때문에 우리는 신심이 있습니다.
Throughout our visit, it was difficult to know where propaganda ended and genuine sentiment began. To get a fuller picture of life under Kim Jong-un, we had to leave the country. In North Korea, we spoke only to people chosen by the government. So to get a sense of what life was really like under Kim Jong-un, at least for some, we traveled to Seoul.
We're on our way to meet a couple from North Korea who's left the country after Kim Jong-un came to power. The husband apparently has just arrived to South Korea. Neither of them has spoken to the media before.
Kim Jong-un has tightened border security, and less North Koreans have managed to defect in recent years.
We've been asked not to reveal their identities or where they live because even though they have left the country, they're still afraid.
We're changing their names and distorting their voices at their request. Kim Min-soo and On Soo-bin escaped separately across the river to China.
혹시 뭐 돈이 좀 많으면 돈이 좀 있으면 이렇게 이게 그 국경 그 군대들한테 돈도 좀 줘가지고 뭐 이렇게 해가지고 혹시 이렇게 넘어올 수도 있어요. 근데 돈도 없고 이런 상황이 됐으니까 그래서 무작정 그래서 이렇게 눈을 피해가지고 그렇게 해가지고 제가 저 우리 아이를 배낭에다 이어가지고.
Did you ever feel in danger?
그래서 내가 그래서 넘어가다 잡히면 죽고.
일단 나만 기도라고 했으면 남한으로 오려고 그런 기도를 했으면 그거는 정치범 교화소로 가는 거죠, 바로. 그러니까 저희는 탈북 중에 잡히면 차라리 그 자리에서 죽어버리는 게 나아요. 넘어오는 친구들 속에 대다수가 다 저희부터 시작해 대다수가 몸에 죽을 약을 차고 와요. 독약을 가지고 오는 거죠.
Soo-bin told us she wanted to leave North Korea ever since her father was swept up in a purge when she was 14.
거기서는 종배 조금만 거슬리면 지도 새도 모르게 없어져요, 진짜.
She said after her father disappeared, her family was exiled from Pyongyang.
평양하고 지방하고 차이는 상당히 커요. 네. 진짜 평양 시민들 자체가 지방 사람들의 생활을 다 모를 정도로 그렇게 차이가 심해졌어요, 이제는.
The government allowed us only to speak to people that were approved by them. Of the people you know, what is the general feeling among the population?
처음 아침 눈 떠서부터 저녁에 잘 때까지 이것을 충성심.
In 2013, the United Nations released a groundbreaking report on human rights abuses in North Korea, concluding their abuses, including forced labor, deliberate starvation, torture, and the complete denial of the right to freedom of thought, quote, have no parallel in the contemporary world.
여기 이제 북한의 화성 수용소, 북한의 핵실험했던 여기서 아마 옆으로 쭉 나가면 여기 핵실험했던 장소가 있었고, 여기서 정치범들을 끌어다가 이제 여기서 핵실험장 했다는 이제 그런 증거들이 나오고 있고.
When he was only 9 years old, Kang Chol-kwan said he was imprisoned at the Yoduk political prison camp with his family. When he was released 10 years later, he escaped to the south.
So people here, like there's entire families that are kept in these places.
그렇지. 이런 대형 수용소는 다 가족이라 그렇지. 옛날에는 이제 뭐 정권 반대해서 막 그 격렬한 저항도 있었는데 지금은 대부분 이제 탈북자들이 많이 오는 것 같아요. 도망가는 사람들은.
80 to 120,000 people are reported to be held in these camps on life sentences. The North Korean government denies that political prisons exist.
세계에서 유례 없는 어떤 포갑 체제, 거기다 이제 사이비 종교성까지 이제 결합이 되면서 그 공포 체제가 거의 한 50년간 되다 보니까 사람들은 이제 이 체제가 무너지기 힘들다 이렇게 생각을 하는 거죠.
We wanted to raise the issue of human rights while on our visit to North Korea.
I say you are all welcome to Korea to see the reality about Korea, about the DPRK, which will be different for you. By the way, have you found some people who have horns and red face? No.
We were given one chance to sit down and ask questions with party members. Our guides insisted it wasn't an interview, just a conversation.
In Western world, especially in the United States, there's lots of criticism for this country on, you know, what happens to those who oppose the government, etc. So we wanted to know his opinion about what other countries say about human rights here in this country.
부원하고 싶은 것은 그 우리나라의 인권 문제에 대해서 떠드는데 이거 어디까지나 우리의 족대 세력들, 미국 남성 괴뢰들 비롯한 미국과 남성 괴뢰들이 우리에 대한 험담 누려놓고 이거 우리 현실을 잘 모르는 소방이 이거 그대로 대받아 넘겨서 이 문제가 산생됐다고 저는 그렇게 생각합니다.
In December, the UN General Assembly voted to refer North Korea to the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes against humanity. The question is now on the permanent agenda of the Security Council. After the vote, Kim Il-sung Square was filled with thousands of people in a government rally against the United States and the United Nations. Andrei Lankov is a historian who has studied North Korea for decades.
North Korea is a notorious human rights abuser, arguably the world's worst human rights abuser. Having said that, these resolutions have no impact whatsoever, because they understand it's official now that if they lose, they are not going to be spared. So they are going to fight, and they are going to be even more repressive, not less.
그래서 죽여도 그래서 그 자리에서 죽어도 노골적으로 말해요. 너는
치인 게 이렇게 톡 낀 것이 아니라 너는 벌레보다도 못한 인생이다. 네 사람이라고 생각하지 말라. 이제부터 너는 인간이라는 그 두 글자를 빼고.
In Seoul, Kim Ji-woo, not her real name, told us she had been arrested and tortured by the North Korean security police after she was falsely accused of being a spy.
그래, 내가 겁만 나오다 보니까 이 고문에 이 몸을 움직이지 못했어요. 담가에 실려 나왔는데 진짜 매를 너무 맞으니까 사람 형체도 없죠.
She said she defected in 2013 and that her family is still in North Korea.
그러나 나왔어도 거기에 대한 것이 나 하나에 극한되는 것이 아니라 내 자식들한테까지 로가 묻히고 감시라는 거는 상상할 수 없을 정도로 감시를 붙여요. 그러니까 일체 내 사회생활도 두절되고 뭐 자녀 교육도 생각 못하고 그래서 탈북하기로 결심하였습니다. 그래 탈북하여 왔고요.
Ji-woo told us that when Kim Jong-il died, many people had a secret hope his son would bring change. But she says it could not be said publicly, and they had to fake their grief.
그리고 막 딱 침대는 보여지더니 딱 서서히 그 매 사람들의 얼굴 표정을 동양으로 살피고 그걸 동양자료에다 써요. 뭐 머리를 숙이고 조이를 하면서도 뭐 무슨 눈은 웃었는가 입은 웃었는가 이걸 다 하는 거예요. 그래서 사람들이 어떤 지게는 툭툭 옆에서 치면 야 눈물이 아예 나온다 하고서 이렇게 침 딱 발라서 눈에다가 이렇게 쭉 이렇게 해서 흉내를 내는 거예요. 우리 북한 사람들 그랬어요.
But she said that hope didn't last long.
야, 제가 알건데 우리 보이부는 총살하는 것이 총알도 아깝다 하고 딱딱꼬리망치에 이렇게 푸석한 예리한 쇠망치로 이 머리 요 종소리를 내리쳐서 죽여요.
Did you ever see something like that? Did you see executions where you're?
많이 봤죠. 많이 봤죠.
There is a small dirty secret. There is very little resistance in an efficient and sufficiently brutal dictatorship state. Resistance is possible when repression doesn't work properly. And if you have a well-run repressive state, nobody dares to say anything.
After more than 60 years, the division between North and South Korea is still a fault line. North Korea has now threatened a nuclear test because of the United Nations' attention on human rights in the country.
It's really a message to the leadership that
Ambassador Joseph Detrani is a former US negotiator with North Korea on their nuclear program. The Sixparty talks reached a dead end in 2009.
if they're not happy with something, they'll tell you, well, we're not happy with something. And if you persist, we'll have a nuclear test. We'll have a missile launch. And I think the expectation has been, we will cave. Threats don't work any longer. The threat to escalate doesn't work any longer. They're not going to get what they want because they're threatening. They will get more by coming back to the table and being reasonable.
The United States has announced a new round of sanctions as a response to the cyber attack on Sony Pictures they claim was orchestrated by North Korea.
Outside policy is either pro-engagement or pressure. Pressure does not work. Engagement might have some impact, but only very limited. On balance, we have this kind of oscillation between unrealistic hopes about pressure and equally unrealistic expectations about engagement.
I mean, we've had 20 years of experience negotiating with North Korea. And what do we have? A North Korea with more nuclear weapons, a North Korea with more missile delivery systems, a North Korea that continues to proliferate. So these negotiations haven't been successful. Let's be brutally blunt about that. But that doesn't mean we stop.
While the international community navigates policy options, changes within North Korea might have the most far-reaching implications.
There's so much curiosity in South Korea about what's happening in the north that, as you can see, like dozens of people just come here to take a small peek of the other side.
Our main glimpse of life in the provinces we were shown in a cafe in Seoul.
북한 안에 또 하나의 국가가 평양이니까 평양과 지방의 격차는 하늘 땅 차이라고 보시면 돼요.
Faultlands was shown exclusive footage from a North Korean smuggler. He asked us not to reveal his identity.
무슨 행마시요? 예? 총진행?
In this clip, a group of people are waiting outside a train station in Suncheon City, north of Pyongyang. We were told they were waiting for merchants to arrive with Chinese goods that need to be brought to market. Things like shampoos, electronics, and smuggled DVDs.
지방은 배급이 끊긴 지가 오래서 이제 지방 사람들인 경우에 거의 시장에 의거해서 식량을 사 먹고 있는데.
We're told if caught filming the market, you could go to prison or worse.
북한에서 지금 TV랑 나오는 거 보면 사회주의를 계속 주장하고 우리는 뭐 하나밖에 없는 뭐 사회주의다, 뭐 이 세계 지구상에 하나밖에 없는 사회주의다 이렇게 하면 큰 소리 치잖아요. 그런데 거기 외국인들이 보면은 거기 들장나잖아요. 그러니까 이제 그걸 이제 막자니까.
The government can minimize changes in the economy, but can't hide them completely. We were taken to the Migo cooperative farm in Sariwon City. It's a model farm in one of the most fertile areas of the country.
The leader, Kim Jong-un, said that agriculture is a priority. He wanted to do some reforms. Have these reforms are already in place?
Not
As anything, well, not reform, what to say?
New measure.
New measures.
But it's not new, but it has been already initiated by the President Kim Il-sung.
Chronic malnutrition is still a real problem in North Korea, but food production has increased somewhat in recent years, in part because of a new emphasis on family-based agriculture and incentives for farmers.
하는 게 이 국가에다가 이 국가 계획을 이미 봤습니다. 국어 초과한 한 톤분은 이 어린 한테 준다는 거 현물로.
Obviously, the policy of Kim Jong-un is to emulate Chinese economic reforms of the 70s and 80s slowly and very carefully. But at the same time, remain very harsh, very repressive in dealing with everybody who have any doubts about the system or is going to challenge the system in any meaningful way. Over last year, they had a massive campaign against people who watch illegally imported, smuggled foreign movies. Well, they became very harsh, and now people are afraid to watch such movies.
In Korea, we have a saying that seeing is believing. Of course, it is same in English. So first, see with your eyes, and then if there is anything you want to know, which is very doubtful or you're very curious, then you can ask us.
During our time in North Korea, we were constantly told that we should see with our own eyes how different the country is from outside perceptions. But what's unseen and unspoken is all the ways in which the regime maintains its control. For those who have fled, it's a system that, despite decades of diplomatic pressure and US and international sanctions, appears as entrenched as ever.
우리 북한 사람들이 정말 그렇게 뭐 언순하고 모서리들이 아니에요. 내가 반항하고 싶어도 반항하지 못하는 원인이 나 하나 죽는데 그치는 것이 아니라 3, 4대 멸족을 하니까 땅굴로 지나가니까 할 수 없이 참고 견디는 게 우리가 이상 우리 북한 사람들이 정부에 대한 최대 반항은 탈북하는 그 길밖에 없거든요. 탈북하에 와서 이렇게 인터뷰도 하고 세계에다가 우리 북한에 대한 그 실상에 대한 걸 정말 이렇게 세계에다 알려주는 것이 우리 최대 반항이라고 생각해요.